So what happened, Garrett? Would you like to share with the group?
I
When you
was
started pitching?
I was beginning my monologue and then I exited the Zoom. So we're off to a
Recording
good
has stopped.
start.
Keeps
All
coming.
right, take two.
So, I'm Teo,
I'm Garrett.
and we are starting a bike rack company called Dragonfly Rack. This all kind of came about because I have a friend named Clark, and he is a great dude who I met at a former company that I worked for. He's a senior mechanical engineer, an inventor. He's worked on a ton of different stuff. He's got over 150 patents, mainly in aerospace and medical devices. And he had a bike rack that he hated, and he basically invented a new way of carrying bikes on a car. Um, so as of um, what would it be, 2021, 2022, he had a prototype, which he's patented, and he's been carrying his bikes around since then with it. And he's been pushing me for a couple years now to take this on as a side project and really commercialize it, bring it to the world, get customers, do the marketing, set up a Kickstarter. And until about, what, 6 months ago, I really, I was doing software things. Had a cool job at Amazon. Amazon wanted me to move to Seattle, and I said no. Um, and so here we are, starting a bike rack company, and having a really good time. I've brought on Garrett, who I know from Santa Monica when I used to live there. He is pretty deep in the triathlon groups there and has knowledge of marketing as well as um, distribution from previous jobs. And we're starting a company, which is pretty cool. We've just reached a couple of key milestones, and we're thinking about how to allow people to kind of follow along the journey with us. Um, so we're starting a blog, and we are also starting a vlog potentially. So exciting times.
This is the beginning of the blog journey.
This is the beginning of the vlog. A couple of things have happened which are really exciting in the last month. Um, Number one is we filed a provisional patent on some of the final design parts of the bike rack. So that has allowed us to show it off publicly. The day after we finalized that, I ran in the San Francisco Marathon with the bike rack. Now, why would you do that, Teo? Excellent question. Um, the pitch is basically it's so small and so light, right? Our prototype weighs 12 and a half pounds. It's small and light enough that you really should just bring it up to your apartment with you whenever you're done using it, and bring it down with you the next time you want to use it. Our prototype weighs 12 and a half pounds. So it's super duper easy to carry it around. And to prove how easy it is to carry around, I carried it for 26.2 miles.
Like a
Um,
champ.
I had a bit of a support crew with Garrett. I wouldn't recommend it, uh, but I proved that it was possible. Had a pretty good time doing it. And we'll be posting a video with kind of our journey doing that and why we did it and a bunch of other details there pretty soon. Um,
Next couple
and
weeks.
then, yeah, next couple weeks. And then the last thing that we're kind of finalizing now is our business plan. So basically taking 6 months of going from first talking to Garrett about this idea, really pitching Clark on us taking it over, having a ton of conversations with potential customers, doing a bunch of research into the market, just a ton of minutia, really, bringing it together into a document saying what our plan is. Um, and I guess we can kind of go over what that is, broadly speaking, now. But we've just started advertising as well, which is huge. And I'm really excited personally. I don't know about you, Garrett, but
I'm
it feels
pumped.
like we're about to move from kind of wishy-washy, like it's a side project that we're doing some work on every once in a while, to really being employees almost, and founders. So
Yeah, we're starting to bring on more contract help. We're bringing on more work with the graphic designers, editors, advertising specialists.
yeah,
We're going to start working more with product specialists soon to finalize our designs, move things forward. So I really feel like we're kind of pushing from a completely conceptual arrangement of ambiguous ideas to
yeah,
solidifying something into a network that resembles a company.
resembles a company. Um,
When we start making money, we're a company.
we already have. We have
Yeah,
$6 in
we made
gross revenue.
$6.
Those $6 are from our VIP list. So if you go to our website, dragonflyrack.com, you can join our VIP list, and that will allow you. Currently, the price is $1, which will probably increase over time, but essentially that gets you the best possible Kickstarter price. So currently, that best price is $274.99. So basically 275 bucks for pretty nice bike rack that's best in class for weight, and really innovative and cool. Um, I'm gonna call that a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
You'll
that's an
have to
awesome deal.
wait until probably March of 2025, between March and April for delivery. But um, I don't know. Most people go biking mainly in the summer. I guess we both live in California, so that might be slightly different. But even then, um, $75 off MSRP for a $1 deposit is pretty good. Um, so what is the point of this blog, Garrett? We haven't really discussed that.
I think the point of this blog is so the interested customer can kind of look behind the curtain and see what we're doing and who we are,
Mm,
and also a little bit about how we're doing it.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
I think it's not always clear how things get created, and
yeah.
we're discovering it a little bit on the way to creating it as well. So
You get
I
to
think
peek behind the curtain.
part of this is just sharing the adventure.
Yeah, it's certainly an adventure. Um, we should put up that text thread that we had. I think it was from like late December where I first pitched this to you. I didn't really pitch it to you. I was like, you kind of asked me what I was going to do when I told you that I quit Amazon. I'm
Like, I'm going to start a company.
gonna work on this cool side project. Um,
I was like, cool, let me know how it goes.
and here we are,
Here we
looped
are.
him in. Um, what else have we done in the last couple months? I've come down to LA a couple times. That's been really fun. We did kind of some media blitzes. Um, we have taken a bunch of different photos, videos, and now we can share those, which is great. Before, uh, we had to be really careful about what we were sharing, just because there were certain parts of the product that we couldn't show publicly. So we needed a website to start telling people about it, but it was like, well, you can't see that part yet. I think people, once they hear about it, and they hear about, as soon as you tell them that their bike rack doesn't have to be the way that it is, they become a lot more interested. They're like, oh, it doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to be this horrible thing that I have to carry around with me. And like,
Because it's so normative that it's this
yeah,
heavy pain in the ass.
yeah. Hey, let me get out that 50-pound thing that lives in my closet and carry it down the stairs again. Like, it's horrible. I've decided why people don't steal them more. They don't steal them more because they're such a pain in the butt.
You can't move them.
Like, what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, imagine the homeless guy going down the sidewalk on a bike with a 60
Yeah,
pound bike rack on
I
his
live in San
back.
Francisco, right? A bike you would want to steal. A bike is transport. It's like you can sell it, you know. A bike rack is just a pain. You just want to get rid of it. Dragonfly rack. is much more likely to be stolen because it's so small and portable. I'm not
Dragonfly
sure that's
Rack,
quite a
a bike rack you want to steal.
yeah.
That's their slogan.
The first bike rack that you'd want to steal. That's good. Good. Um, this gives me so much joy seeing these. It's so good.
Nice.
Very well done.
Thank you.
These are our little flyers that we made for the marathon, which we made with part of it covered up because that was the patented part. Uh,
Censored.
censored, yeah, literally. Um, what should we talk about? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do for the next month? I think the next month is going to be a lot of advertising. It's going to be a lot of media creation. Um, we're obviously going to move along the business stuff quite a bit. Um, I think the other thing that we haven't really talked about, which I have a to-do item on for this week, probably today actually, is have a text out to um, somebody that's going to recommend us a couple more design partners potentially. But really getting in touch. We have a design partner that we're working with already in Vietnam that um, I'm enjoying working with and seems like a good option. Um, he is working on, I think our prototype is very good, but it's not perfect. And it was kind of created over the course of several years with Clark making small adjustments and tweaks, but it never really went through a formalized design thinking process. Um, and we're currently doing that and making sure that all the different steps in the user journey are seamless and work and make sense. You know, all the requirements are met, right? For example, the straps are going to be changed out. We're going to make it a little bit easier to adjust the bike when it's on the rack. We're going to optimize a little bit for cost and weight. We're going to find probably some different materials for the pads. Those are wearing quite quickly. We're going to make it so that the straps hold down the bike a lot. Garrett's been using this thing how often? Twice a week for the last couple months.
Yeah, once or twice a week, pretty regularly with 1 to 2 bikes, depending on what we're doing. And there's certainly pieces of it that need some improvement that we've kind of got on our agenda, but overall, it's been a really great experience. It's really easy to live with.
Um, so I think there's quite a bit of work that I need to do. I don't know exactly what those milestones will look like, but uh, working through that and the goal being that we could create several more prototypes, potentially even before the Kickstarter. I'm not sure if that will quite work, but that will validate, it will mean that there's very little risk in investing in the Kickstarter, right? We will already have a design partner. We'll already have a manufacturing partner. We will have already produced bike racks with those partners, shipped them to the United States, although they'll probably be coming in a suitcase with me back from Vietnam. Um,
I did ship the bike rack to you in a checked bag. I
yeah,
took
that
it
was cool. It actually
on the
fit.
airplane and it fit in
What
my checked bag without any modifications.
what other bike rack fits in your suitcase? I don't know. Not many. Actually, that's not true. You could probably fit
Maybe the Sea Sucker.
the sea sucker you could put in.
That one's kind of like it's like an oddball one. It's not a
Yeah.
very traditional bike rack.
No, no.
The Sea Sucker is interesting because it's a cool concept, and I know a few people have used it. They're always, I don't know anyone that's ever really had like a catastrophic issue, but there's kind of no margin for error
Hmm.
to
So you
have a
mean putting it on the
catastrophic
bike?
failure. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, putting the suction cups on the car, because like if there was ever a reason that the suction broke,
yeah,
there's not really a lot of opportunity to like save the bike. It's just gonna leave the car if that
yeah,
suction breaks.
yeah.
Now, granted, I don't know how often that happens. Maybe it's not as big of a risk, but it seems to be something
Potentially
people
never.
are definitely nervous about.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Like I feel like the suction cups under normal circumstances probably would be fine, but like if you have a dirty car and you didn't take time to clean the surface and there's
yeah.
contamination or it's not sucked in, or maybe you're going from sea level and you're climbing up into the mountains and the pressure is reducing,
Ooh, I
you
didn't
would
even
lose
think about
suction.
that.
So I guess I'm sure there's a scenario where you could have a failure, but it's just, I think it just causes more anxiety in people because you have to
Yeah,
pay close attention to it.
yeah.
But it does seem to work. So
I mean,
I don't know. I would like to try it at some point.
one of the things that we found, we did have one instance where the design allowed for the bike to um, kind of come out of the rack a little bit, and we're specifically fixing that. Um, and that's over the course of, you've taken it on several multi-hour trips, round trip.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
probably driven in it. I don't know, a little bit north of 100 hours, couple 100 hours at this point. So
Pretty good.
not too bad. And
Up to,
prototype parts like the straps and the foam are starting to wear
yeah,
pretty heavily now, but those are things we intended to change and will change before the final product.
yeah,
So it's more about like finding things in our assumptions, like what assumptions do we have about the design and how it works with the bike,
yeah.
and then are those actually correct in the real world? And I've definitely found a few cases where we assumed it would work one way and it doesn't
Mhm.
really work that way in reality. So those are things that like we will address as we move forward.
Couple of other things that we're addressing in this kind of design review is adding functionality specifically around stuff like power meters. So the way that we grab the bike is on the crank spindle or the pedal spindle, I guess it would be. So that's one of the strongest parts of the bike. But sometimes it's not a spindle. It is actually where you put your power meter because that's where you need to put the power meter in order to measure it. Um, so we are making a couple of small design changes there. Um, what else are we doing? Um, we're probably going to come up
That
with a carrying case, some kind of bag. If you want to stick it in your closet, for example, you can do that. Hang it somewhere, so it takes up even less space than than it already does. Um, what else? Yeah,
yeah, I think going to be it's going to be a big effort to simplify the design as well, since we're dealing with a sort of an erector set prototype at this point in time, and
yeah,
it's not as manufacturable as we would like it to be, given the price point we want to offer it to people.
yeah. We're doing the hard work that brought the is it the Starship engine? What's the engine that was brought
The
made
Raptor engine?
the Raptor engine? Um, went from basically this massive um, metal
Mess.
tubing to incredibly simple. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
very simple. I'm sure inside each of those chambers is, a massive tubing and stuff. Um, tons of electronics, sensors, etc. But it's all hidden away and it looks simpler, and that usually means that it is simpler. Um, so that's essentially what we're doing is taking a thing that is a prototype that people can get excited about and really shows off the design and um, shows off what people are going to get in a real way, but also is not necessarily exactly what people are going to get because people are going to get something that's better, right? Another thing that's probably on the roadmap, which we're not going to do yet, is coming up with a plan for testing. Um, I think it's worth probably soliciting ideas. So if you have ideas that you want us to test, let us know. You can get in touch on dragonflyrack.com. There's a little chat thing in the bottom right. You can message us on Instagram. But we are we're gonna put it through its paces. Um, like I'm even considering in Vietnam, what we'll do is I'll like rent a car and go to a racetrack or something, or like I don't know, bring it into some jungle and like drive around for a couple days.
Off-road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
off road with the Dragonfly Rack. I think that would be great. So
I'm
if
gonna
you
be
have, huh?
gonna be going up to Santa Cruz in September, so that'll be the longest trip to date.
Yeah,
Los Angeles to Santa Cruz, it's probably like 7 hours,
I think
six
it might be
hours of
slightly
driving.
less. Depends how fast you go.
Depends how fast the Dragonfly Rack can handle.
That's a good question. How fast have you gone with it on private roads, of course? Close,
Allegedly, I've gone up to 90 miles an hour, allegedly.
but the speed limit
For
was 90, right?
But the speed limit was 90 on those roads, allegedly.
Yeah.
Um, I have my internal rule of thumb for testing, because it's a prototype and because I am putting my own bikes on it, has
What's
been 80 miles an hour. So I try to stay at or a little bit below 80. That's my rule of thumb on the highway, because I find um, going above that, I get a little bit nervous with the current setup that we have. So
the
especially
straps
given the
are suboptimal?
given the fact that I'm usually going that far for a race, and I'm generally using my race bike, which is has a very wide side profile, so it's catching a lot of wind as well.
This is
So it's
the
kind of
TT
like,
bike.
yeah, so the TT bike's sort of like dragging a sail behind your car. So at 80 miles an hour, it's like it's getting a significant amount of side force against it. So, and if you go up to 100, it just gets exponentially harder against the bike. So
It might double actually, even going from 80 to 90 to 100.
I think it does. I think it's a quadratic function, but I'm not
Is
quite
it?
sure.
Right, ChatGPT. We should ask.
I think the goal would be that you could take the Dragonfly rack up to 100 miles an hour in emergency situations only. Asterisks.
Remember we had one lady who we showed it to. We did like a weekend where we just like we were we should have gotten photos of us with the signs.
I think I still have the signs.
They're pretty good. Like I wish Clark had taken photos of us like
We're
meagerly
just
there with
standing
her.
by the side of the road.
It was like,
Please,
yeah, ten
please, we have
dollars.
Starbucks.
Yeah,
Free
please check out
Starbucks.
our bike rack. No photos, but check it out.
Free
Uh,
Starbucks, just like written on a clipboard with Sharpie.
we had one woman who had a bike rack, and her requirement to buy was it has to be able to be driven up to like I think it was like 110 miles an hour.
She's
We
like,
were
I
like,
do 100 miles an hour on the highway. Like it has to survive 100 miles an hour. It's
I
like,
think we were like, well, we can't recommend that to you, but we will test it in a closed course condition.
okay.
It was something like we won't certify it, but we'll make sure things won't fall off.
We like the margin for safety there.
Yeah. Um, so anyways, I hope you've enjoyed our podcast.
I hope you've enjoyed whatever that was.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.